Good morning. Welcome to Second Unitarian Church. I am Nana Cross, a member of the church's Board of Trustees, and my pronouns are she and her. In response to COVID-19, we at 2U are doing our part in slowing the spread of the coronavirus. We are continuing to meet virtually using Zoom. Special thanks to our amazing team taking care of all the technology. You will notice that there is a chat feed available for you to interact with. You're welcome to use this to say hello to one another and share your joys or concerns when we reach that time in the service. When we would traditionally sing together and read things in unison, you are encouraged to do so as well, even though you are on mute. Our voices echo through the world, so we might just hear one another if we listen closely and sing with our full spirit. As things continue to change, we will be paying close attention to the recommendations of public health officials and respond as quickly as possible. At this time, we recognize physical distancing as an act of love and protection. We especially welcome newcomers this morning. During this time of pandemic, finding a new community and making new connections can be challenging. Please know that we are excited to have you and look forward to getting to know you. If you are new to us today, you are welcome to note that in our chat. Our worship today is led by Reverend Jason, along with worship associate Margot Horn and chalice lighter Joy. Our music is provided by Director of Music Amanda Thomas, as well as the Cedarquist Bozar family, plus Myra Epping and Jim Redlick. Our Time for All Ages is led by Director of Faith Development, Alicia Obanda. Our tech team are Christy Grant, Epiphany Paris, Dan Ashley, Harris McKee, Eric Schutzler, and David Martin. I have a couple of announcements for you this morning. Next week will be our first attempt at a hybrid outdoor and Zoom service. All who would like to join in person while wearing masks and in marked physically distant spaces are encouraged to show up at our regular service time at Horner Park. The park is at Montrose in California, and we will meet just south of the playground and north of the parking lot off of California. Please bring a blanket or beach chair. The service will be a blessing of the animals, so you are encouraged to bring your pets with you as well. We will, of course, still have a Zoom option available and look forward to celebrating and blessing all furry, scaly, feathery, and fluffy friends you share your home with. Keep an eye out for more details about how this service will work in the days to come. We will almost certainly bump into some tech challenges, and we appreciate all your love and patience. The anvil last week, our church newsletter, contained a wealth of information about adult religious education classes that will be offered this fall. Please be sure to check them out. You can learn about nuclear technology, discuss theology, join a book group about dynamic worship, and more. You can find more information and additional announcements in your order of service. I now welcome Margot Horn to lead our call to worship.
We are a Unitarian Universal of many beliefs and traditions, bound not by the specific list of things we believe, but the values we share. Whether you are joining us for the first time or for the 1000th time, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. Whatever your race, whomever you love, whichever way you move in the world, however much money is in your pocket, you are welcome here. I invite you now to take a breath in and out. As the music begins, let us enter into our worship service together.
This morning, I'm going to light our anvil candle in honor of Alandria Williams. Elandria passed away on Wednesday after having heart surgery. Elandria was a fierce and powerful leader within Unitarian Universalism. Most recently, they served in the highest lay leadership position in our faith as co-moderator of the Unitarian Universalist Association. They were a founding member of Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism. They created so much space within our faith for anti-racism work, for the nurturing of UUs of color, particularly Black UUs, and for supporting young people in our faith movement. May this flame burn bright in their honor. And we light our chalice this morning with this reading written by Elandria. We are worthy, not because of what we produce, but because of who we are. We are divine bodies of light and darkness. You are not worthy because of what you offer, not because of what is in your mind, not for the support you give others, not for what you give at all. We are worthy and are whole just because. In this great turning, in this great pandemic, in this radical readjustment and realignment, we are not disposable. We are needed. We are the very people that have withstood everything that has been thrown at us as a people. And as Maya Angelou would say, still I rise. We arise from the pain, we arise from the grief, we arise from the limits people place on us and the limits we place on ourselves. We rise to be the children and the ancestors. We rise to be our true selves in relationship to our families and communities, recognizing our liberating and whole selves. Honoring them and others as we strive for abundant communities, abundant lives, abundant relationships, and abundant values and cultural manifestations. We are worthiness personified. I, you, and we are worthy and deserve a life where we are not always fighting for our existence. Imagine what we could create if we were not always in the struggle. So tired of always having to resist, to fight, demanding, pushing. You are the visionary. You are the hope. You are our ancestors' dreams. No, you might not ever end up on some list somewhere, but you are on a list in someone's heart and mind. And it is in how you move in the world so people can see by example. You are the embodiment of what we need. Thanks to all that are the embodiment. The embodiment not of productivity, but the embodiment of radical love, care, and sanctuary. It's time. Embodiment time. Embodiment. Living one's values out loud. Let me every day live my values out loud. Let us every day live our values out loud. Embodying our values. Not the productivity quotient, beyond productivity, past productivity. True embodiment. Life.
Please join me in singing hymn number 20, Be Thou My Vision. Raise me heavenward, O power of my part. Riches I heed not, nor world's empty praise. Thou in my inheritance, now and always. Thou and thou only, first in my heart. Sovereign of heaven, my treasure thou art.
Please join me in reciting our covenant. The words are on your screen. We covenant to build a community that challenges us to grow and empowers us to honor the truth within ourselves. We will be generous with our gifts and honest in our communication, holding faithful to a love that embraces both diversity and conflict. Called by our living tradition, we will nurture spirituality within a vision of the eternal, living out our inner convictions through struggles for justice and acts of compassion.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the strength of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning, everyone. What a wonderful song. Thank you, Myra and Jim's rendition. It is time for the story for all ages. So if your kids are not yet in the room, it's a good time to ask them to join you. Today, we're going to hear a story called I Am Love, a book of compassion, and it is by Susan Verity. When I see someone going through a storm of hurt and unfairness, of anger and sadness, when the sun disappears and the skies grow dark, and I see there is fear, I ask myself, what can I do to help let the light back in? I put my hands on my heart and I listen, and that is where I find the answer. I have compassion. I act with tenderness. I am love. I can listen and not say a word. I can be there. Love is being present. I can hug and hold and say, everything will be all right. Love is comfort. I can speak softly and choose my words and actions carefully. Love is gentle. I can give thanks for all I have and am able to share. Love is gratitude. I can keep my mind and body safe and healthy. Love is taking care of me. I can express what's important to me. Love is creative. I can know that no one is perfect. Love is understanding. I can do my best to make things better when something is wrong. Love is effort. I can celebrate those I've loved before. Love is remembering. I can find goodness in a kind word, a helping hand, or a shared smile. Love is tiny gestures. I can breathe in the air that the whole world shares and know all creatures are made from the very same stardust. Love is connection. When the clouds roll in for others and for me, I know now there is something I can do. I can let my heart lead the way. I am love. You are love. We are love. And with love, we will weather the storm and light up the sky together.
Thank you, Alicia, for that story. Each year, we all make a commitment, a pledge to support the ministry of our church. In addition to this contribution, each Sunday we take a collection so that we can share with those doing justice beyond our church walls. While we are unable to come together in person, you can still share your resources. To make your contribution, you can send a text and follow the prompts. We will have the number on your screen as music plays during our offertory. For the month of September, we are sharing our plate with One North Side. This morning, though, we will be hearing some words from Mary Helen Steinler about the upcoming Fall Fest.
Let's talk about COVID Carnival. I hope you've all received the emails about this year's Fall Fest that will be different than any other Fall Fest we've ever had. Of course, 2020 is a year like no year we've ever had. COVID Carnival is going to have 3 different parts. First, we're going to have an online silent auction for over a week before the actual party. The silent auction will go online on Friday night, October 30th at 5 p.m. sharp, the night before Halloween, which may or may not happen. You'll get details on how it will work before that night. You can bid on really cool items, make monetary donations of any size, and there will be a random bidder prize. So bid early, bid often. This is Chicago, after all. The more times you bid, the more chances you have of getting chosen for the random bidder prize. Second, we have 3 fabulous speakers lined up to talk about some of the many compelling issues of the day. These will be ticketed Zoom presentations, and the suggested donations are $25 per household. First is Mary Sue Barrett, longtime member of 2U and president of the Metropolitan Planning Council. The second will be Colleen Connell, who is the executive director of the ACLU of Illinois. The third will be Natalie Moore, the WBEZ reporter for race, class, and communities. The third part of the COVID Carnival is the virtual party on Saturday night, November 7th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. But I'll tell you all about that in my next announcement. So there are 2 things that I want you to remember from this announcement. Number 1, because there are so many moving parts to this carnival and it may require technical information that people like me don't have at their fingertips, information for everything will be found on our 2U website. We will be updating it regularly, so it will be very helpful. So check that. So you just go to the 2U website, then onto Getting Involved, then click on the Fall Fundraiser tab. Number 2 important thing is we need you all to donate items for the silent auction. I'm hoping that everyone will donate at least one thing. For great ideas about what you can do in this wacky time of physical distancing, go to the website. Remember, Getting Involved, Fall Fundraiser, then donation ideas. Choose an idea and think, hey, I could do that. Fill out the donation form, which is also on the website, and punch that submit button. Easy peasy. There's also a tax letter that you could offer to businesses if you'd like to solicit donations from local businesses. We just need you to do it as soon as possible. If you've been thinking about what you could do but haven't filled out the form yet, please do it now. To make this fun for everybody, we want to have lots of donations for people to choose from. So to wrap up, number 1, go to the 2U website for information. And number 2, send in your silent auction donations as soon as possible. It's going to be really fun. Don't miss it.
Thank you, Mary Helen. I have full faith that this is going to be a wonderful time together, in large part because of all that you're putting into it. So thank you so much. Now I invite you all to join me in reading our offertory words. The words are printed in your order of service and available on your screen. This church is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm it and enable its participation in the larger world around us. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received. Wherever it is that you are right now, I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation, a connectedness to all. Let us begin with some quiet, breathing together. Relax the muscles in your neck. Unclench your jaw. Feel your body. Be present. We begin in thanks. Thankful for the breath in our lungs, the beauty of our earth, and the strength of this, our community. We hold in our hearts those who care for family and ill health, those who live with grief or chronic pain, those struggling with addiction or illness, seen and unseen. We are with you. For parents and teachers and all those whose primary spiritual practice is caring for children, especially in this challenging pandemic time, we are with you. We pray for our neighbors in prison who cannot possibly physically distance, for those who are struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty and economic downturn. We are with you. We pray for all those living in harm's way. Pray for our planet and commit to work that leads us away from the harms of climate chaos. Pray that wisdom, compassion, and empathy guide the leaders of our world. May they and we be instruments of a just and lasting peace. Our lives are blessed by those who knowingly, with curiosity and courage, face their final days. This morning we celebrate the birth of Carl and Patty's baby, Owen Douglas Kennedy. Mom and baby are both doing well. For the family of Breonna Taylor, we pray for comfort, care, and justice. Even as we know that the criminal legal system is unable to provide the justice needed, our hearts ache as we watch yet another time that white police officers get away with killing a Black woman. In our grief, we also feel righteous anger and lift up our voices with those rising up in Louisville. We join our hearts with those in the streets and with the leaders at the UU Church in Louisville who have made their building a sanctuary for protesters searching for safety. For all those who loved Alandria Williams, especially Alandria's mom, dad, twin brother, 3 nieces and nephews, we hold you close to our hearts. Into this shared silence, I invite you now to speak the name of anyone you wish to lift up into the loving support of our community. With our deepest compassion, let us hold in our hearts those named and unnamed, those remembered and those forgotten. Let it be so. Amen, and blessed be. At this time, I will light 2 candles, one representing the joys and celebrations we are experiencing, particularly the birth of a new baby, and another representing the concerns, sorrows, and grief we're holding. As we listen to the music, I invite you to share your joys and concerns in our chat window.
Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Pray with me, pray with me, pray with me, oh my soul. Pray with me, pray with me, pray with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Sing with me, sing with me, sing with me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul. Comfort me, comfort me, comfort me, oh my soul.
Thank you, Amanda. Comforting my soul indeed. We hold all of your joys, celebrations, sorrows, and struggles close to our hearts. Margot, would you please share our first reading?
Our first reading is entitled A Blessing for Risk Takers and Failures by Reverend Robin Tanner. Blessed are they who fall in the mud, who jump with gusto and rip the pants, who skin the elbows and bruise the ego, for they shall know the sweetness of risk. Blessed are they who make giant mistakes, whose intentions are good, but impact has injured, who know the hot sense of regret and ask for mercy, for their hearts will know the gift of forgiveness. Blessed are they who have seen a D or an F or C or any letter less than perfect, who are painfully familiar with the red pen and the labels as less than. for they know the wisdom in the imperfect. Blessed are they who try again, who dust off, who wash up, who extend the wish for peace, who return to sites of failure, who are dogged in their pursuit, for they will discover the secret to dreams. Blessed are they who refuse to listen to the naysayers, for their hearts will be houses for hope. Blessed are they who see beyond the surface of another, for they will be able to delight in the gift of compassion. Blessed are they who stop running the race to help a fellow traveler, who pick up the fallen, who stop for injured life, for they shall know the kindness of strangers. Blessed are they who wildly, boldly abandon winning, for they shall know the path of justice.
Thank you, Margot. Our second reading this morning is from Reverend Rob Hardy's. Unitarian Universalism's third principle, he writes, and if you are like me and forget which principle is which in order, the third principle reminds us that we affirm our acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. He says, again, our third principle sets before us a vision of our congregations as communities where spacious souls can grow and flourish. We grow souls on Sunday mornings when a sermon challenges and expands our thinking, or when the music makes our spirits soar. We grow souls throughout the week in religious education classes for all ages, as we learn to discover the movement of the Spirit in our lives. We grow souls when, amidst the clamor of war, we struggle to find paths of peace. We grow souls in our connection and conversation groups, learning together and caring for one another, recognizing in others' stories our own experiences. We grow souls when we engage with one another in congregational self-governance, learning through conflict and feeling the power of shared vision coming into reality. The purpose of church is to provide spiritual sustenance for world engagement. Now, more than ever, the world needs our congregations to be incubators of a generous, loving, and justice-seeking spirituality. Let us hear our anthem.
Good morning to you. I'm George Cedarquist.
I'm Julia.
Ben.
And in our household, we are wrapping up Rosh Hashanah and preparing for Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement, which is tomorrow. To get ready for Yom Kippur, we wanted to share with you a song called a nigun. A nigun is a Jewish spiritual song that has two important parts. First of all, it's sung by lots and lots of people all together. And second of all, it has basically no words that are repeated over and over again. So if we all sing together, you never know, we just might hear each other. This nigun has three phrases. The first phrase, the second phrase, and the third phrase is the same as the second phrase. Here's how it goes. We want you to sing after us. Bim bam, biddy biddy bam, biddy biddy bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. You all sound fantastic. Let's put that all together. Bim bam, biddy biddy bam, biddy biddy bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, biddy biddy bam, biddy biddy bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, biddy biddy bam, biddy biddy bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, biddy biddy bam, biddy biddy bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam. Bim bam, bim bam, bim bam, biddy biddy bam.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful and such a joy to see your faces this morning. Thank you for leading us in that. We keep saying it, but it truly has been a year. Multiple times I've sat down to write my sermons for Sunday and thought to myself, wow, this is one of the hardest sermons I've had to write. I did not expect that those words would pass through my mind so many times as we started our ministry together only 14 months ago. Today for me is particularly tough. The plan is to reflect together on the vision for our church, renewing our efforts and ensuring that we know where it is that we want to go together as the people of 2U. In many ways, it is so appropriate for that to be our focus, as so many UUs around the country right now are grieving the death of Alandria Williams. It is appropriate because Alandria had such a clear vision for Unitarian Universalism. They had focus, dedication, and commitment that inspired so many. I know that not everyone here at 2U has a personal connection to Alandria. And my intention is not to create a memorial service out of this sermon. However, regardless of whether you knew Alandria personally, I promise you that the faith you are connected to has been so deeply affected by Alandria's ministry. Their impact has ripples well beyond those who immediately were connected to them. As such, I'll be using many of Alandria's own words throughout my sermon this morning. I also want to acknowledge that it can be hard to have your minister struggling with grief. I want you to know that my weeping and openness about my grief does not mean you need to take care of me. Grief is an inevitable part of our fragile human lives. As part of our covenant of shared ministry, it is my responsibility to get the support and care that I need. I am very well cared for by my sweet partner, cuddly pets, amazing friends, loving mentors, and others who are similarly close with Alandria. While you may see my tears or hear my voice break, and I might be a bit slower on some things as I mend my heart, please know that I still care deeply for you, each of you, and remain just as committed to our shared ministry together. Before diving into reflections on visioning, I want to share this poem with you from Mark Nepo that has been offering some comfort to me. Yes, we can talk. Having loved enough and lost enough, I'm no longer searching, just opening. No longer trying to make sense of pain, but trying to be a soft and sturdy home in which real things can land. These are the irritations that rub into a pearl. So we can talk for a while, but then we must listen, the way rocks listen to the sea. And we can churn at all that goes wrong, and then we must lay distractions down and water every living seed. And yes, on nights like tonight, I too feel alone. But seldom do I face it squarely enough to see that it's a door. It's a door into the endless breath that has no breather, into the surf that human shells sometimes call God. You may recall that I preached about attending to our vision last November. Presumably, you don't remember all the words I preach from this pulpit, even though I'm sure they're all quite excellent. If we were meeting in person, this is the part when you would laugh with me. Though the sermon I preached about vision last year began with reflections on the brilliance of Whitney Houston, I will not be focusing on Whitney's gifts today. I think Alandria's words are much more fitting. As we strive to create the world we dream of, we need to have clarity in our vision. We need to understand what it is that we are reaching towards if we are to extend ourselves in the right direction. Without a clear vision, it is too easy for us to get lost amongst the many righteous works that we could be involved in. As our vision becomes clearer, our shared ministry gains strength. To understand where we are going, it can be helpful to reflect on where we come from. In 2014, Elandria offered these words to an anthology for you young adults. And I'm going to quote Elandria at length. My church changed forever on July 27, 2008, Elandria writes, when an armed man came into the sanctuary and killed 2 UU leaders, one a member of the Tennessee Valley UU Church and the other a member of Westside Church. This rocked our church to its core. When I first heard about it, I didn't know who had been killed. My mom, my friends, and their parents, or others who had nurtured me my entire life. I realized something that day that has stayed with me ever since. No matter what issues I have with other Unitarian Universalists regarding our visions of God's Spirit, justice, race, and age, at the root of everything is community, love, and faith. That day, something larger than our individual beliefs rose up in my mind. I thought of the principles, values, and family that are the connective tissue of our faith community. And that held us weeks after the shooting, 6 months later on our 60th anniversary, and still today. Alandria continues, we are part of the connective tissue that holds the legacy and future of our faith. We are church across the street, AYS, YRUU, Youth Cons, Journey Towards Wholeness, Groundwork, CUUN, The Mountain, and GA Youth and Young Adult Caucus. We are the children of freedom fighters, visionaries, and radical liberal theologians. We are the phoenix rising out of the ashes of the McCarthy era and the civil rights, women's, and queer liberation movements. We are the survivors and beneficiaries of youth-led and youth-focused beliefs and programming that encouraged us to be change makers, boundary pushers, and institutionalists all at the same time. We are and will be the ministers, religious educators, congregational presidents, organizers, and social change leaders our faith has led us to be. We wear our faith as tattoos on our bodies and in our hearts as testament to the blood, tears, dreams, and inspirations of our community ancestors and elders. Alandria could not have been more right. Unitarian Universalism does not belong to one specific community. We are part of a faith filled with imagination and possibility. Ours is a religious tradition that connects through parallel, crisscrossing, and conflict-ridden pathways. Recently, Laura McKee shared with me a copy of a collection of Emerson's writing that she had received as a young adult by her minister. Emerson's vision of transcendentalism created so much anxiety in Unitarian Christian leadership in the 19th century. Fearful that this invitation to connect to the divine through nature would lead people away from the church, they were so worried. Instead, today, many of us connect to the beauty of transcendentalism through church community. The change the institution was so afraid of has now become part of our foundation. Releasing our fear of change and opening our hearts to the possibility of new visions is exactly the tradition that Alandria invited Unitarian Universalists into. One of the things I loved most about Alandria was that they were always acting as an educator. No matter what else was going on, they were constantly providing space to facilitate dialogue and get a deeper understanding of where the group wanted to go together. Alandria could always find a way to pause what was going on for necessary, teachable moments. They also reminded everyone that it was important that those with privileged identities and experiences stop learning at the expense of others. I understood that wisdom to mean that people of color should not have to suffer for white folks to learn. Disabled folks should not have to tell all their experiences of hurt in order for presently able-bodied people to make the necessary changes to create inclusive spaces. Instead, through authentic relationships, honest listening, brave spaces for sharing, and lots of self-education, we can make spaces more equitable and truly inclusive beyond just our words. So what might this mean for us at 2U? What commitments must we make to ensure that our congregation rises up to the challenges of today? How do we prioritize the work of creating a congregation that promises to be around for many generations to come? We've already begun the work of creating our vision at 2U. Some of you may remember doing aspects of this with Reverend Adam in 2013. Our church was in a very different space at that time. Over the last year, I've preached about vision. Karen Goldner and I led a congregational workshop after service. The board has had a retreat focused on visioning, and nearly all of our small groups last church year spent some time discussing what 2U's vision may be. During these scary times, clarifying our vision will help guide us forward as we answer the questions about what our role is as a faith community. When you think about the scariest or hardest or seemingly hopeless moments in your own life, what did you hold on to most strongly? What guided your heart? It is these pieces that must shape our vision. I want to share with you some of what you all have said about visioning, words that came to me from your small group facilitators. This is some of what you've said. A vision imagines what is impossible and gives new energy to achieve the impossible. A vision provides a legacy of dreaming big, imagining the impossible. A vision requires great love. The big ideas seem to be about belonging, living your faith, pay attention, be non-judgmental. A vision prepares the roots for growing. It takes us to the unknowable about ourselves. We shy away from believing we are religion, but we are. Our religion is tending to the spirit. People seek a kind of spiritual sustenance. We focus on this life. We're not planning on going to heaven, but making heaven be here now. Vision is to pay attention. These are all some of your words. While you listen right now, think about the role of our congregation in your life, the life of our neighborhood and city. What words come to your mind when you consider the vision of our church? What feelings come to your mind? What experiences? What would it take to make your vision for our church come to life? As we begin to close, I want to share more of Alandria's words with you. This is really an exercise they created, so I invite you to participate in it as best as you can. When you are asked to open your eyes and look around you, take a moment to change the view on your device to gallery and look at those who are gathered together in this, our virtual community. Afterwards, I encourage you to return to speaker view for our closing hymn. These are Alandria's words. Close your eyes. Breathe in. Breathe out. When you hear the word liberation, liberatory spirit, liberatory life, liberatory possibilities, what does that conjure in your soul? When you hear, we are the liberating force, spirit, light, and love, what does that conjure in your spirit? When you hear that we have the power to transform the world around us, what does that mean in your bones? When you hear we are the people we've been waiting for, because we are, how does that feel in your blood? We are light, we are wisdom, we are the ancestors, we are those yet to come. How do we fully hold all of that in ourselves? Open your eyes. Look at the people around you, or scroll on your screen. Imagine the babies that aren't here. My happiest thing was with middle school camp yesterday. And I remember there the reason why we are here. It's not some of the people that I run into every day, but it is those 11, 12, and 13-year-olds that desperately need our faith to be what they have called us to be. Our young people need us to be ready and move so that we can be the faith that holds them in, and the people that say, you are worthy now. Let it be so, and amen.
Please join me in singing hymn number 348, Guide My Feet. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. Hold my hand while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. Stand by me while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. Search my heart while I run this race. For I don't want to run this race in vain. Race in vain.
I invite you, wherever it is that you are, to rest your hands across your heart or clasp hands with those you're sharing space with. I offer you these words from Henry David Thoreau. As a single footstep will not make a path on the earth, so a single thought will not make a pathway in the mind. To make a deep physical path, we walk again and again. To make a mental path, we must think over and over the kind of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives. So, beloveds, when we consider our vision, let us consider that which we will want to rest upon over and over again. That which we will make ours. That which will make our ancestors proud. Go in peace.